Howdy folks, welcome to Katie Phillips Scrapbook Designs. I'm Katie, and today we're working on page number 8 in the Reaching for the Stars mini album. For this album, we're using the Theater of Stars paper pad by Recollections. If this video ends up having to go to 2 videos, it's going to be because I decided to do a cascading / pull tab waterfall, and I have not done one of these in a long time. So I'm going to have to probably spend a little time puzzling out how they work again. To get this video started off though, let's get started with the other segments. We can do the waterfall last. First up, this page is going to have a flap on it. The flap is 6 1/4 by 7 1/2. We're scoring the 6 1/4 inch side at 5 3/4 and 5 1/2. And on the inside of the flap, we're going to have a pocket. The pocket is 6 1/2 by 2. We're going to score the 6 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch, fold that under, score at 5 1/2 inches, and then we're going to score the 2 inch side at 1 1/2 inches. The pocket has a mat. The mat is 5 1/4 by 1 1/4, and the flap has 2 mats. The larger mat is 5 3/8 by 7 3/8, and the smaller one is 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. I've already inked all the edges up. Let's start first with scoring the pocket and the flap and inking up the edges on those. Alright, we're going to ink up the inside of the 2 side tabs because a small portion of the inside might be visible when the pocket is fully assembled. And just on the off chance that it can be seen, we want it to look uniform with the rest of the album. On the flap, we're going to ink the inside of this tapered tab because a portion of that will also be visible. But we're not going to ink the other side because that's going to be glued down. Next up, we're going to glue the pocket mat down to the pocket. And I'm just going to use liquid glue for this. And we're going to glue this mat to the larger mat. Now, keeping this mat right side up, I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to center it between these two score lines, and I'm going to line it up right next to this score line right here. And we're going to pull the release paper. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to clip these corners. So we're going to straight miter all the way across. And now we're going to glue this to the inside of this flap. So I'm lining the pocket up with the bottom of the page and with this score line right here. Now we've got another set of mats, the same size as these two, so 5 3/8 by 7 3/8 and 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. I'm going to put these mats together. Alright, we're ready to add the flap onto page number 8. I want to make sure I've got the page right side up. It's very important to check that you've got the page right side up. Speaking from experience, more than once I glued something down upside down and not discovered it until the glue had set. Now we're on to the mat for the base page, which is the same set of mats, 5 1/4 by 7 1/4 and 5 3/8 by 7 3/8. And these two mats right here do absolutely need to be glued down with wet glue because there's going to be quite a bit of weight hanging off of them. And I don't want to leave it to double-sided tape to hold all of that down. Now these two pattern papers are a single pattern paper. I just cut them at the 5 1/4 inch mark and 10 1/2 inch mark. And I kind of like that because it makes kind of a single image when it's opened this way. And I do have an insert that's going to go in this pocket. I've never done one like this before, so cross my fingers, hoping this works. So here's the insert, at least the plan for the insert. It's going to be a folio of folders that are, it's going to start off 8 1/2 by 11. I'm going to score the 8 1/2 inch side at 4 1/4, and I'm going to score the 11 inch side at 7 inches. And the idea is from wherever the 7 inch score line is down, I'm going to cut that 4 1/4 inch score and then miter it a little bit, fold that up and create little pockets. So let me do one of these to show you what I'm talking about. Fingers crossed that it works. Okay, that's a little bit tall. I think I'm gonna cut probably 1.5 inches off of there. So I'm actually cutting 1.25 inches off. This side here. And this side here, but we're going to leave the other two sides open. Right, I think we're just about ready here. Let me make sure I've got all the pieces. Those over here. So we have 7 waterfall pieces. These are 3.5 by 4.5. They are not going to be scored. I have inked all the way around all 4 sides on both sides. And we have 7 mats. These are 3.25 by, well, 4.25 by 3.25. We're going to go landscape with this waterfall. So the first thing to do is going to be to glue these pieces down. And for some of these, I'm going to have to fix the sizing on them, I think. Yep, these two are a little bit too wide. Alright, I have put off the waterfall mechanism long enough. This piece is cut to 1.5 inches wide, and I have glued on an extra piece to extend it out to about 16 inches. I'm probably going to end up cutting some of that off. But for now, I'm going to score this at 7.5 inches. 8 inches, 8.5, 9, 9.5, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 10 is 5. 10.5 is 6. 11 is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we wanted to make sure that we've got plenty of room here for, let's see, that's 4 inches. I don't think I'm gonna have to cut anything off. I think this is gonna be fine. And I'm going to fold that over, try to fold that over at the score line. Actually, yeah, I'm going to end up having to cut some of that off. I'm going to cut about an inch off of there. So now the total length is, so that's 7.5 inches, 6.5. So the total length is 14 inches. I do have another piece that I need to get assembled, and this piece is 2.5 by 1.5 inches, and I'm going to score the 2.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. Fold that under and score at, I'm going to go to 1 5/8 inches just so that I've got a little wiggle room. And this piece is going to go right there. Ink everything up because some of this will end up being visible. And the mat for the pull tab, it's a little bit long. It probably doesn't need to be this long, but it's 1.25 inches by 6 inches. Let's glue that down. Right, so I'm gonna add this bottom. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna add the bottom waterfall piece in between these two score lines. And I'm adding the glue to the band. And I'm just eyeballing the center here. You want to try to keep it straight. And it's a little off center. That's better. And we're going to add the next one, and you want to make sure that you don't get any glue over the score line. That up with the score line there, and side to side I'm going to align it with the other waterfall piece. Got the basic waterfall assembled. I definitely want to let this glue dry here before I do anything else with this, because I don't want this glue to get stuck on this piece here. This piece needs to slide freely. So I'm going to give it about 10 minutes and I'll be right back. And I did end up cutting about 1/2 inch off of this section here and to hide some of the damage anyway. I've cut a piece. This is about 1.25 inches by 2 3/4. And I'm just going to glue that down there. It's not going to cover all the damage, but it will cover at least some of it. And the reason that I had to do that is because the waterfall wouldn't, the last piece wouldn't flip. Well, second to last piece wouldn't flip. The whole thing is attached to the album just on these tabs here. So we want to use good, strong liquid glue here. We want these two tabs wrapped around the back of the pull tab. And I'm going to take the waterfall up to the very top of the page, keep it straight and press down. And it's okay that this tab hangs just a little bit past the edge of the page because the page itself has at least 1/4 inch clearance from the bottom of the album. So that's it for page number 8. If you liked this video, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more mini album related videos. I release new videos every Friday and Tuesday. And if you have any questions, leave me a comment in the comment section down below, and I will add links to all the materials that I can find online in the description box. We will see you guys next time. Bye.